Good morning. It's time to start the Tabata weight fusion workout for this week. We're going to start with the Tabata, stick up, squat, total body extension, push up, alternating side lunge, reverse fly, skater hops, and mountain climber. Then 3 supersets, weightlifting supersets, and then going back and doing the Tabata again. I want you to discover the transformative power of momentary failure. So you're training up to the point where you feel like, I'm losing form, this isn't feeling great anymore, this isn't feeling energizing and powerful, backing off and resting. This is the Tabata technique. 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, ramping up, getting to that momentary failure, and then coming back down. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm using YouTube and royalty-free music to keep the counts, and I'm using a Tabata app. So away we go. Let's start. Music. Tabata.
Starting your Tabata workout. Get ready.
Nice and easy. Starts with stick-ups.
Exercise.
Here we go. This is the warm-up Tabata, so we're not pushing that hard. Warming up the body. Abs are tight.
Rest.
And rest 10 seconds. Thinking about your posture during those rest periods.
Exercise.
Squat. Getting into your form, getting your brain in touch with your body. Engaging those abs.
Rest.
Don't allow the core contraction to release for long. Zip it back up.
Exercise.
Total body extension. Good breathing. Staying on top of your feet, don't roll out.
Rest.
Push up. Our initial warm-up push-up is going to be elevated, like this. Elbows straight back.
Rest.
10 seconds of rest going into an alternating side lunge. Hands on the thighs, back neutral.
Exercise.
In the next round, we'll use a slightly different technique. A little bit of lift.
Rest.
Going into a reverse fly with no weights. This is that warm-up round.
Exercise.
Here we go. It's a little bit of funky disco going on this morning. Learn these exercises and you can use whatever music you want. Skaters.
Exercise.
Now you don't have to hop, but I'm going to.
Rest.
The final exercise of this Tabata round is mountain climber. Here we go.
Exercise.
And notice you don't need a whole lot of room to get trained. There we go.
Done. Great workout. You spent 4 minutes, 7 seconds exercising.
Great workout. 4 minutes and 7 seconds. We're going into resistance supersets. So I'm going to do each of these one time today and then go back into that second Tabata. If you want to complete and get a longer training session, more intense, you can do 3 rounds of these supersets. Rows and glute raises, overhead press and Bulgarian split squat, tricep extension and calf raise. Those are our exercises. We begin with the row. I'm going to do 8 on each side, lunging forward, abs tight, hands on my thighs. Keeping the shoulders squared. Focusing on the abs and on the back. The row, we're training the back. I'm going to go into a glute raise. Getting at the glutes and the hamstrings, getting at the back of the body. Traditionally, you see this a lot if you've watched my videos. The classic Romanian deadlift. Looking to mix it up a little bit, so I'm going to demonstrate a glute raise, and I'm going to elevate my feet on the bench. So I'm coming down, and my feet are on the bench. Hi, you can see me. And for 8, lifting up, and 2. It's 3, 4, abs down tight, pull them down, gravity is helping. 5, 6, 7, and 8. And rolling up. If you want to, you could also put a weight across your hips and lift it that way. Superset number 1, now overhead press. I'm going to choose some 8s this morning. And here we go, backing up so you can see it. Abs tight, glutes tight, don't roll out in the feet, don't roll in, stay up on top of your feet. And it's 1, 2, 3, sets of 8, 4, pull it in, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Going into the Bulgarian split squat. One of my favorite single leg exercises. It is physically challenging, so to learn the Bulgarian split squat, you can, if you wish, use some support. All right, so I am going to do this with, I'm just going to do it on the bench. You could set up next to a wall so you can have one hand on the wall for support. All right, reaching back with the leg. You see why it's challenging? Pulling in the abs and lowering. 1, gotta come out a little bit more. There it is. And 2, excellent for balance and flexibility. 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, and 8. I've been doing these supported, so this is a challenge for me. And this leg's going out, and this one's going back. So you could have, you could set a chair up right here for some stability, or you could put your bench next to a wall so you can hold onto the wall. But here I'm doing mine freestyle. Coming down and up. And 2. And 3. Trying to go straight down. 4. And 5. The knees going forward a little bit, but not too much. 6. Whoa. 7. And 8. Very powerful. since I've been teaching, and I am back in 2013 started, we can't really do these exercises in class, so I get a little bit rusty on them. It is very important that you keep going back to techniques that are challenging for you so that you don't lose them. Momentary failure, not constant struggle. All right, next set of exercise, tricep extension and calf raise. These are going to be fun. So starting with the more challenging exercises and leaving the accessory or external exercises, arms and calves, for last. And coming into the calf raise, I'm going to do these by doing releve. 5 and 6, 7 and 8. One of the things you can do with the calf raises, if your calves are highly conditioned, you can go ahead and go to 12 or 16. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. For a complete training session, you can go back and do those circuits 2 more times. But we are going to go right back into that Tabata training. It's going to be fun. Now this one, we're going to bring the intensity. So we did our first one that was kind of like a warm-up, but now we're really going to go for it. So for example, my push-ups, I'm going to go to the floor. I'm going to do a little bit more elevation in my alternating side lunges and a little bit more elevation in my skaters. Maybe go a little faster with the mountain climbers. Let's get some music on and away we go. All right, still starting to stick up. Oh, I gotta start the Tabata timer. Let's do it again.
Starting your Tabata workout. Get ready. Exercise.
It's so funky. This is Kevin MacLeod's music.
Rest. Exercise.
A more challenging squat, this is a Y squat. A little bit more challenging than the arms there. Feeling that contracting the back more in a very good way.
Rest.
And rest. TBEs.
Exercise.
All right, so I'm going to go a little faster, come up a little higher on the balls of my feet, making this more intense.
Rest.
All right, so going into the push-up, and this is where we demonstrate the power of momentary failure. Whoa, here we go.
Exercise.
So as it gets hard, I drop down.
Rest.
All right, gonna push this aside. Gonna go into the alternating side lunge.
Exercise.
So as you can see, I'm doing this slightly differently to make it harder. I am going to add some weights to this reverse fly. Just on this one. Here we go. Powering through. Woo. This one's a little loud. All right, skaters. So as you can see, going for it a little harder. Really contracting my arms, pulling in the abs. Go. Momentary failure is what we're after. Momentary failure. Mountain climber. So I'm going to increase the speed of these mountain climbers, seeing if I can get to momentary failure. Whew. It's getting hard. Gonna keep going. See, I'm wanting to slow down. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Momentary failure. Woo! So, my training is going to be focusing on improving my ability to dance and do the other activities of daily living. I'm taking Jardy Santiago's house dance course right now, learning footwork, and coming to the realization that I want to train in order to dance. So important. Let's stop the music. Thank you for staying with me, talking a little bit about philosophies of food and fitness. Many years ago, way back when I was 8 years old, when I was 7, I had had an accident and I'd been in a cast all summer. And at that point, some other things had gone on and I started to overeat compulsively. So when I was 8, I was coming off of some serious overeating and then also the accident that had me sedentary. So when I went into my pediatrician, I was officially overweight, according to BMI. And so my pediatrician turned to me and said, "Kathy, how would you like to count calories?" So there were some changes made in the way I ate, satisfying foods taken out, low-fat, unsatisfying foods putting in. And then at the same time, this is when, so this would have been born in 64, 8 years old. So this would have been around 72 after this book was written. So this is, bear with me guys. So this is the book Aerobics, and this was written in 1969. And this is the book that really started the push away from intervals, away from resistance training. There's actually a paragraph in here where Dr. Cooper specifically says that those forms of exercises are not good for cardiovascular conditioning and pushes us toward aerobics, which is that moderate intensity steady state. So not walking, and also not sprinting, not intervals, not weightlifting, but that moderate intensity MISS training. This was the extraordinary problem for me because my type of muscle fibers, simply what I enjoy doing, is the exact opposite of everything that is in this book. In addition, when I went on the swim team, I experienced recurring humiliation. Because I had no talent at the point when I went into the course for swimming, I was essentially isolated to the side and I was ignored. What we know now is that humiliation and isolation actually becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it can cause inflammation in the brain, which creates more depression and can start those thoughts of self-loathing. So if you are looking for an exercise or a fitness or a training program, you need to make sure that you're not experiencing constant endurance failure. Momentary failure is fine. Momentary. A little bit like the failure that we experience when we do Tabata training. This incredibly brief, you accelerate up to the point where you can't anymore, and then you stop and rest. So this is completely different from what you might feel if you were doing a 60-minute class where you're struggling for 50 minutes out of the 60. That struggle, staying in the struggle, that period of suffering actually can cause problematic changes in the brain. I have another book here. Where is it? The Inflamed Mind. The Inflamed Mind. What's really interesting about this book is that it talks about the effects of inflammation in the brain, but it doesn't necessarily talk about a lot of solutions to inflammation in the brain. They're looking for drugs and those kinds of protocols in order to heal this. Well, the reality is that the healing for inflammation in the brain can be to remove the sugars and the processed foods, and then at that point inflammation drops, hormonal balance returns, and you can go back to starting to live a happy life and pursue what you want to pursue. There's another book that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to do this is a live stream. I'm going to do a video about the latest book that I've been reading on the mind-changing power of eliminating the excess carbohydrates and returning to insulin sensitivity, by an MD who is a psychiatrist, and his protocol, which is, shockingly enough, here it is, you guys, he actually follows a protocol for, it's either 30 or 60 days, I'll go back and check with the book again, where he is just eating meat and fat. So it's basically meat and cheese and eggs. I'm not kidding. And then once insulin sensitivity returns, then there is adding back the fruits and vegetables and fruits that you can tolerate. And of course for me, that is, sugar freedom is proteins, simple healthy fats, and then vegetables that grow above the ground, and low sugar fruits if they're tolerable for you. It's very exciting as a lay person who I basically describe and demonstrate the way that I overcame obesity. It's incredibly powerful as a layperson to see medical doctors, medical MD psychiatrists coming on to the same protocol and actually recommending them to their patients, because I don't make recommendations, I make demonstrations, and I really do want you to talk to your doctor. We all need to be talking to our doctors so that they can recognize and understand the kind of protocols that are working for us, and that we can develop that evidence that we need in order to make cardio freedom and sugar freedom and all of the kinds of training that eliminate what doesn't work, to give them the evidence and the benefit of wisdom, so that medical doctors and nurses and dietitians can begin to recommend them, because they know them work and they've been studied. At any rate, thank you so much for training with me today. Like, subscribe, share. If you know somebody who isn't training at a gym, who needs something that you can do in a small space, please share this with them, and then I will, of course, sit down and put in the notes. I'll put what all the exercises were, and I'll put the reps in as well. I will be back next week. Once again, thank you. We are up over 1,100 subscribers now, which means I can come back to you live on my mobile device, which is really the easiest thing for me to use to come to you live. So thanks for subscribing. Thank you for being here. Make it a wonderful week, and I will see you next Monday here in the Sugar Freedom office. Bye-bye, everybody.